On a numbers game, the right data changes everything, and the data behind Shopify is hard to argue with. Millions of businesses worldwide run on it, including our own VSiN store. When we launched, Shopify's templates and AI tools got us live fast. Professional looking from day one. No tech background needed. Shopify checkout converts more customers and makes it easy for returning fans to come back and buy again in a single click. Shopify's built-in AI assistant Sidekick is there whenever you need help, building, troubleshooting, or just figuring out your next move. Check out what we built at vsin.com/store. Then go build something of your own. All you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. That's shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Good Wednesday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, Sirius XM channel 158. Gill Alexander coming to you from San Francisco this week. Once again, Kelley Bydlon back in the VSiN studios at Circa Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to the show on a wonderful Wednesday. Let's go.
Wow. Very exciting.
I got
Very
some sleep
exciting.
last night, Gil. Feels great.
I didn't, and then we scrambled this morning, right? Because the rundown had to be shifted around. That was a whole thing. You don't have to worry about that part. We took care of it. On the show today, Jensen Lewis is going to join us. You may have just heard Jensen on By The Books moments ago with Mark Malusis this week. Jensen will join us to talk Major League Baseball. Chris Felica on the World Cup. The quarterfinals are set, not without some drama, some more drama yesterday. Wow. What a game between Argentina and Egypt. Different opinions coming out of that game. We'll get to that. Felica's got picks on all of the quarterfinals. 1 tomorrow, 1 Friday, 2 on Saturday. We have a day off from the World Cup today. I don't know what to do with myself, Kelley.
I know it's weird. I see a lot of people like a lot of people. I hit this point in the NBA playoffs, right? Because it is so many NBA playoff games every night for what, like a month and a half, and finally then you get like a day off when you get to the conference finals or something like that. And you're like, okay, I could use a breather. I've had so much fun with this World Cup. I'm not ready for a day off, Gil. Keep it rolling. It's been great.
Fantastic. Egypt beats, Argentina comes back from a 2-0 deficit late to beat Egypt. We'll get into that momentarily. And then Switzerland wins on penalty kicks late in the day against Colombia. Also on the show today, not only Chris Felica on the World Cup, Todd Wishnev will join us, talk Major League Baseball, maybe some WNBA. I don't know what's on his mind. We'll find out together. And then Paul Sporer on Major League Baseball as we crescendo here, 5 days left until the All-Star break. We also are doing today, we talked NFC season win totals, our favorite NFC season win totals last week. I had 3 overs, Kelley. We're doing the AFC, our favorites today. Guess what? I got 3 unders in the AFC.
There you go. That checks out. I loved your list, too. We don't share any of them, but I have a lot of comments on your list. I liked it.
And then the other thing we're doing today is, and this is all shout out to Mark Borchard, who mentioned this yesterday on his spot on the show. He said next week when he's on with you guys, he's going to do his sabermetric all-stars. Now, this is a tribute to a segment that Mark and I used to do on the Betting Dork podcast over a decade ago, where around this time of year, heading into the All-Star break, right on the All-Star break, we would highlight the most underperforming and most overperforming starting pitchers in Major League Baseball, so that when they start moving forward, you have sort of a baseline to realize, oh, this is a place perhaps to exploit when these pitchers on the hill, either to the good or to the bad. So I will give you 2 underperformers today that are both involved in playoff hunts, and 1 just insane overperformer, which we will get to on the show. And then I don't know if Mark's going to have the same pitchers next week or different ones, but you know, there's a handful to choose from. That's for sure. First, before we do anything else, not a good tennis morning. 2 ladies, 2 dogs, 2 losses. Jasmine Paolini, a huge dog, plus 216 against Marta Kostyuk, let's just say I was dead wrong about that. Jasmine Paolini's magic carpet ride, trying to get back to a Wimbledon final. Kostyuk said, no, I am crushing you. And she did. And then at least Mertens, who was a plus 136 dog against Linda Noskova, thought she'd put up a better fight. She did put up a better fight than Jasmine Paolini did. But honestly, if you look at the box score, it wasn't really that close. Noskova had a million breakpoint opportunities till she finally was able to get one to do the trick in the second set. And Mertens couldn't barely get to one. In fact, she got to exactly one breakpoint the entire match. So those are two bad calls by me this morning, both on Paolini and Mertens. I do have one. It's a CLV special, Kelley. What could go wrong? Got Taylor Fritz at minus 108 against Sasha Zverev. Taylor Fritz is now about minus 130 or even longer.
Wow.
I wouldn't play it at that number, quite frankly, anymore. I think it's gone too far. I would play it in the minus 120s at the most, up to minus 125. But I mentioned this again on the Beating the Book Wimbledon podcast that we did with Drew and Zach, that we always do with Drew and Zach, that I thought Osaka at 8-1 would win the women's quarter. She didn't yesterday. She got beat in the quarterfinal match. And I think Taylor Fritz Draper, the winner of that match, right, would end up winning that quarter. Draper never entered the tournament. Taylor then, of course, got the benefit of that. Here he is, collision course with Sasha Zverev. Neither was I able to bet because we did the podcasts before the quarters were bettable for me, and I had to jet out of town. Mm-hmm. It was sort of like the Red Sox monthly, where I had to mule that bet back into town, but I never got a chance to bet Fritz or Osaka. So hopefully Fritz gets it done for people who did bet that today, but I have Fritz in this upcoming match again at much better price than now exists, sadly. Again, pays to be a subscriber, VSiN.com/picks. Yeah. Even if they don't win, the CLV is usually great, but you know how that goes.
That's pretty, it's a little shocking, at least to me, to see Zverev go off as a dog and not exactly a very small dog in this in this match. That's well, are we going to possibly mess around and get an American man to win Wimbledon, Gill?
It is not possible with Jannik Sinner there, but if Jannik Sinner didn't exist, I would say it's possible. Fritz has great. So look, even from the beginning of when I've talked to you to now, this moment, Fritz has gone up from minus 130 to minus 134 on my board.
There's got to be some buyback at some point, right? When is this match?
You would think so. But the reason, again, that I said so winner of Fritz Draper is because if Fritz then, Draper didn't show up, Fritz, if you remember from the podcast, if those who listen, Fritz owns Zverev. Mm-hmm. Like Sasha Zverev, who just won his first major of the French Open, his kryptonite is Taylor Fritz. I think he's only beaten him once in his career. And Fritz has won like five or six others. Don't hold me to that, but it's a really lopsided head-to-head. Fritz just has his number, and this is really, honestly, probably Fritz's best surface. So I got Fritz, and again, we'll see how that goes. is all I can say.
I like it.
This was a really good grass season. Wimbledon has humbled me a bit.
Yeah, updated futures right now. So you have Sinner and Djokovic will meet in the semis. Gil, maybe they play a 5-setter for like 18 hours, and maybe Fritz gets a tired one of those guys. But updated futures: Sinner minus 250, Novak plus 550, Fritz 7-1, Zverev 10-1, and then Kobley 25-1, and Arthur Furry 50-1.
Arthur Furry is the out of nowhere of this tournament.
Yeah,
I'm just like, wow.
I don't even know if I just said his name right. Did I do a good job? Great, good.
Oh yeah, Arthur Furry. Kobley's a big favorite against him today. For those who missed it, Novak Djokovic maybe with the win of the tournament yesterday, beating Felix Auger-Aliassime in 5 sets, 10-4 breaker in the 5th, as Djokovic just at age 39 going for his 25th slam, still slugging away. So good on him. Just another vintage Djokovic performance where somehow he figures out a way to beat someone far his junior. About soccer yesterday, we will have Chris Felico on the Bear to talk about all the quarterfinal matches. Looking forward to that because Chris knows far more than you and I, Kelley, if I may be so bold to say that about you as well.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. But yesterday, man, so Switzerland beats, Drew had Switzerland to advance, called it perfectly. Switzerland beats Colombia in PKs. Colombia certainly had their chances, but Switzerland advances. So we have we have, in terms of the quarterfinals, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, France, Morocco. France is as far as the favorites are concerned, the biggest of the bunch. Minus 180 favorite on the three-way. Morocco plus 550 coming back. The draws plus 290. That's in Foxborough tomorrow. France expected as the tournament favorite to get by. Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, all these times are a little different. Spain, not quite as big of a favorite as France is on Thursday, but they're a minus 165 favorite on the three-way against Belgium, who obviously beat Team USA to get here. The draws plus 295. Spain minus 340 to advance. By the way, France minus 390 to advance tomorrow. That one on Friday between Spain and Belgium is at SoFi. Then Saturday, it's the doubleheader, Kelley, where it's a 5 p.m. Eastern start to the first one and a 9 p.m. start Eastern to the second one. The first one is the big one. Norway, England. Let's go, Norway.
Let's go.
Norway's plus England is minus 115 on the three-way. Norway plus 310 on the comeback. Draw plus 270. Norway plus 180 to advance. England minus 225. And then the nightcap, Argentina against Switzerland. Argentina is a minus 140 favorite on the three-way. Switzerland plus 450 coming back. The draw plus 255. That one's at Kansas City. By the way, England and Norway is in Miami earlier in the day. And I just have to say this, and I want to get your thoughts on Argentina. The comeback yesterday, late in that match, where it looked like Egypt got a 2-0 lead. It got called back by VAR on a foul that occurred, on the other end of the field, like 10 seconds before the would-be goal was actually scored. Egypt still takes a 2-0 lead after that. And then Argentina, just when you think they're done, 2-1, then the equalizer from Messi, then the eventual game winner in added time. Just incredible, man.
Yeah, it really was. It was, man, it happened all so quick. I was here finishing up some work, was standing right here watching this game with JVT. We were watching the goal get called back, and I was just stunned. I'm like, really? Like, he stepped on his foot, and it was like 10 minutes ago at the other side of the field. That was shocking. And then I got in my car and drove home, Gill, and by the time I got home, we were already in added time, and it was Argentina going on to win. I was like, what did I just miss in 20 minutes? It's incredible.
Incredible. I'm going to ask Felica about, among other things, right, about, VAR, because people were saying, oh, it wasn't intended for that, but there is no stipulation. There's no words and there's no language that states how far away or how prior to the goal actually being scored if the other team doesn't get possession in between. So by the word, it matters. Coming back with Jensen next.
You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
There is no shortage of betting opportunities this summer, from daily MLB and World Cup soccer to the countdown to football season. That's why now is the perfect time to lock in VSiN's football special for just $175. You'll get full VSiN Pro access through the Super Bowl, including our all-new 2026-27 NFL betting guide to help you attack futures, win totals, division races, and the upcoming season. Plus, you'll get daily best bets, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app, and coverage of every major sport all year long. And remember, the earlier you sign up, the more value you get. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Gill Alexander in San Francisco, Kelley Bydlon in Las Vegas. And this gentleman comes to us from Cleveland, Ohio. I believe it's Cleveland proper. He may tell me differently, but it's the Cleveland area anyway. You may know him as the host of By the Books that precedes us right here on the network, Monday through Friday, usually co-hosted by Dave Ross, although this week, Dave shirking his Captain America duties. Mark Malus is in for him. Jensen Lewis joins us now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Jensen, what's happening, man? Thanks for doing this.
You got it, brother. Great to see you. As Kelley eloquently said, it's that old, days of the bullpen where the phone rings. Hey, you need a guy to jump in. No problem. I'm ready in 8 pitches. We're all set. Calisthenics aside. We are, instead of Cleveland proper, we're in a suburb about 20 minutes due south in Broadview Heights. But I am officially a suburbanite now. Used to be in the city. And as I'm sure you can relate from the San Francisco days, sometimes you just need the backyard. You need the trees to enclose you a little bit, have kind of the semblance of some security there. So always great to be with you, my friend.
All right, just clarify. You did say 8 pitches, right? Not something else. I think you said 8 pitches.
Eight pitches, yes.
Oh,
that's great.
I always pictured Jensen too at the like the Baker Mayfield commercial, Gill, we liked so much. Remember, just living at the stadium. That's what I always pictured. He's just in the Brown Stadium living there.
All right, Jensen.
You know
I have
what's
so
funny?
many questions. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Gill. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Please, you.
I was going to say quickly on that. It's funny you bring that up, Kelley, because now in Goodyear, Arizona, where Cleveland's spring training facility is right next to Cincinnati's, they have built dormitories basically across the street from the facility. So there are guys that are basically living 365 at the complex, Baker Mayfield-esque there. So a wild world we live in. I don't know if I could do it. I would need some time away. It's a grind for 365 that way, even for the 6-month season. But the craziness we live in with those guys just doing it every single day.
Jensen, what's LeBron fever like there? Like, is there a buzz about getting him back?
There is, and thank goodness we have the Donovan Mitchell stuff done, and credit to him. Again, he could have waited another year and gotten an additional $80 million for the super duper max deal. But Gill, he has become really a big piece of the fabric of this community, much in the way that Jose Ramirez is now kind of the face of the city as far as sports go. Myles Garrett now departed for the Rams. So it's basically Jose Ramirez and then Donovan Mitchell, flying as a wingman there. If LeBron comes back, and I know you guys have seen some of the prediction market numbers that have really skyrocketed here in the last handful of days, if not the last week, it's starting to reach the fever pitch. Now, it's not the Sports Illustrated I'm coming home, but it is certainly kind of that last dance Cleveland style that if he does get here, maybe it's that one good run, as Jake Taylor would say, just that one good year left in the sun. Maybe that is what they're feeling here with LeBron potentially back to the Cavaliers.
It makes a lot of sense, man. It really does, for a lot of reasons. Eastern Conference, have a legit shot at getting to the finals, whole bunch of stuff, and obviously the coming home part. All right, Jensen, excited to talk to you here as we approach the All-Star break. I'll ask it this way. I've asked this of many other guests, but I'll ask it this way because this will actually take care of the other question I would ask, which is, who are the teams that you see that could rise here in the second half of the season? But tell me who you think are the 6 teams that are going to make the playoffs in the American League and the National League. Let's start with the American League, which is just mayhem.
It really is a theater of the absurd, as Dave likes to say. And I did not have on my bingo card that Tampa Bay would be as good as they were. I felt they would be sneaky Tampa Bay with Kevin Cash and company. But boy, have they acquitted themselves incredibly well. So it would feel like a massive collapse should they not be in it. So they'll be in. I don't trust the Yankee offense. And from the reports I'm hearing from well-placed sources, Judge is farther away than people realize, and they don't even know if Stanton is going to be viable enough to get back to impact it, maybe even into September. So that definitely scares me. The problem is, Gill, I feel like they have so much pitching that there's not really another offense, maybe out of Seattle at full strength, that really scares me of other American League contenders. So I think by virtue of that, the Yankees find their way in one way or another, whether it is wild card, whether it is running down the Rays for the top spot in the East. And they have a decent, 5.5 game cushion at this moment. Not like, hey, we're out of shouting distance, but certainly I think they have enough pitching to get them through, and Brian Cashman's going to make some moves. I picked Seattle to win the American League at the beginning of the year. I've seen nothing to really derail me from that. And I think the scary part, Gill, is they have not really hit on all cylinders yet. If you were to tell me that Cal Raleigh has been this bad for this long and they're still a couple of games over 500, I would have said you're kind of nuts, but that's just kind of the way they are. They've got the deepest pitching, top to bottom, when healthy. I think Seattle's in as well. So Tampa, the Yankees, the Mariners. I love the staying power of the White Sox. And from what I'm hearing, Gill, they are primed to make a big move and maybe swing for the fences as a blockbuster move candidate at the trade deadline. Now, that's the caveat I'll give you because so many teams are still alive, and I don't think anyone's selling until the very last minute. I think Chicago has the staying power because they're ridiculously good at home. They got to figure it out on the road, but getting Murakami back is going to help them, and I think they make the moves to get through. I'll tell you the scariest team right now is Detroit. Since June 1st, they have been an offensive juggernaut. I think they will keep Tarek Skubal if they're within about 4 or 5 games at the trade deadline. I just think they believe, like everyone else does, that everything is open. So I think Detroit maybe finds their way and sneaks their way into a playoff spot. I think it comes down then to Tampa, New York, Seattle, Chicago. We're looking for 2 teams. I played a future on Texas at 30-1 to win the World Series at the beginning of the year. I think they've got enough to get through. I do have questions about their offense, but I'll take Texas. And then, I think a lot is going to be predicated on what happens. And this is wild to say. We may get a second team out of the Central instead of a third team out of the American League East. I can't buy Toronto's offense. I certainly can't with Boston either. So I'll go on a limb and say that it's going to be another wild card team outside of Detroit. Maybe they do end up running down the White Sox, but I think of one of Cleveland or Minnesota find their way in.
What I love about that is every time I ask it, I get the same kind of direction of answer. People say Tampa Bay and the Yankees in whatever order. Then they jump to Seattle before then taking a deep breath and trying to figure out the rest. But what you said in there, we talked a little bit about this off air. You're right, which is these teams may not be in sell mode till the very end before the trade deadline because they all think they have a shot. It's going to be amazing. National League a little easier. Yeah. Oh, sorry,
I think the National League is a little more cut and dry, and I would start with the Dodgers and the Phillies. Atlanta is scaring me a little bit now with the injury issues. They're leaking some oil offensively. Boy, without Acuna in there, it is a completely different dynamic, and I don't know how much more Matt Olson can do along with Drake Baldwin to try and keep this team above water. They're going to get pitching reinforcements back. But I think it starts with LA and Philadelphia. Milwaukee, too, is in that conversation. By the time we get to the end of the year, Gill, it's between those 3 as far as who's going to get, I think, the top 2 seeds in the National League. I have been extremely bullish on the Miami Marlins. I did take a little piece of them at 35-1 to win the National League East just because I think they are absolutely scorching hot. They think they can beat anybody right now, and they're making it stand up. Gill, if you were to tell me they would be tied for the second most home wins at this point in the National League, I'd say you're crazy. But then you look at what they do from a rotation standpoint, and their lineup has been so good. So I would go LA, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Miami is in for me. The Cubs would be in for me. And then I think it's a final Atlanta and Pittsburgh. Those are the 2 teams I think could be in contention for the final playoff spot. I hate the Connor Griffin injury for Pittsburgh, but damn, they have looked really good. What a fight to the finish it's going to be in the National League.
I love the answers, Jensen, because I think what it reflects is, and I don't want to be prisoner of the moment, but I feel like around this time of year, we've never had it more murky, top to bottom.
Agreed.
I mean, it's really amazing.
Agree.
Give us a couple plays today that you like above all.
Okay, so the home dominance for Tampa Bay, they're 23-7 as a home favorite, which they are tonight with McClanahan on the mound against Garrett Cole. I can understand why you'd want to kind of ride the highs, at least a bounce back spot with Cole here, but maybe I'll trust the Rays on the money line. I'd love to see lineups first to see how right-handed heavy that Aaron Boone goes, so that's a lean for me. And then I would also look at the Diamondbacks to bounce back a little bit. A little laid an egg last night in San Diego. So I think Arizona, maybe a little buy low spot for them too on the money line.
Jensen, super appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. We'll all be listening tomorrow to By the Books.
Thanks, boys. Talk to you soon.
Jensen Lewis, everybody, at JLew50. That's JLEW 50, spelled out on Twitter. We'll come back. Kelley, I'm excited. The Sabermetric All-Stars 2026 Midseason Edition. On the other side, it's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Don't forget about the sharp plays, unmatched transparency with records updated daily, AI betting analysis, real-time global betting info and alerts directly from the pros. You can scan the QR code on your screen for more. sharpplays.com. Check them out. We get tweets beating the book. Y'all are the best. Best listeners ever. Any format in recorded history. Tim Bowers. For show. Tim Bowers, after 20 straight days of watching the World Cup, I must admit that I'm not sure of what my daily routine looked like 21 days ago. So true. But I do know that I won't have to hear about James Corden on After Hours today. Oh my God, I'm so glad somebody brought this up. Have you caught any of that show at all?
No, of course not. Even though I think James Corden's actually pretty funny, but no, I have not caught any of that.
Yeah, it's horrific television. It's just terrible.
The one I'm upset about myself for not catching is I don't even know what channel or network it's on, but it's Gronk and Jameis doing like the World Cup recaps. Like, I don't know how I have not seen that. The one we have not addressed, I've brought it up on Twitter, Gill, but since we're going down this road real quick, could we not find anybody else but David Beckham to do commercials? Like I know he's like the Kevin Hart of the World Cup, but like it's everything. And then like, sorry, I don't really believe that David Beckham is going to Home Depot very often. You know, it's just one that doesn't check out for me. You know, having grown up in England and then just being really rich, probably haven't gone to Home Depot very often.
You know, Kelley, Bydlon, you've made some outlandish calls on this show. Most notably, all American football should be played indoors. But your call on Jameis Winston to be a mega broadcast star after his career is spot on.
It's going to be huge. Yeah, it's going to be huge.
JB on Twitter ignored your wisdom and as a result had to dip my Felix Auger-Aliassime 80-1 into olive oil and eat it. Hopefully won't do the same with Fritz 4-1 to win his quarter. Hopefully not, JB. Trip Tepper. Which Djokovic stat is the most impressive? 67 Grand Slam quarters.
Holy hell.
My God. 55 Grand Slam semis or 24 Grand Slam titles. I'll say the latter, but I get your point. They're all incredible.
I don't know why. I'm going to go with the semis. 55?
55 semis is sick. Yeah. Spence, bet a nickel. I saw Arthur Ferry lose a tight semifinal at the Bloomfield Challenger event last July. I told my fiance, just watch that guy is going to make a deep run at Wimbledon next year. Well, you were dead on about that, Spence. Good on you. Peter Wade. I was able to get Taylor Fritz minus 117 at Profit X just now after we talked about it in the earlier segment. So he still didn't get as good of a number as we got last night, but a way better number at Profit X than was available at legalized sportsbooks by the time we were talking about it this morning. Brendan. So Brendan is reflecting a sentiment that's going around like wildfire yesterday, which is FIFA fixed the game so they wouldn't lose Messi and Argentina this early, stripped that goal from Egypt. They also think Ronaldo and Messi are sexy men. Okay, not the last part, maybe, but so many people were going around saying that FIFA fixed it for Argentina, that Egypt got robbed. Again, we'll talk to Felica about it, but by the letter of what VAR can be used for, they actually applied it correctly. It's just like I don't know. This is a terrible analogy, but remember when the tuck rule happened, right? In the Patriots-Raiders game so many years ago with Tom Brady and Charles Woodson. We all learned that day that there was a tuck rule. Like none of us knew what the actual language was. We just knew that from our football sensibilities, it didn't make any sense to us. That's kind of what that was yesterday from a soccer standpoint. Like by the letter, okay, but really?
Yeah, it's tough.
You know, it's tough. All right, Kelley, very excited about this. Sabermetric All-Stars. This is something that Mark Borchard and I used to do on the Betting Dork podcast so many years ago, and then the Beating the Book podcast after that. Actually, I don't even know if we graduated to the Beating the Book podcast. But essentially what we're looking for at roughly the All-Star break, and I think we did it again at the 100-game mark, but certainly we did it around the All-Star break, was who are the most overperforming and underperforming starting pitchers in all of baseball so that their next starts moving forward, you can sort of file it away in your brain and think, oh, I want to bet against based on the line that the market is giving this person or bet for. So again, Mark Borchard is coming on with you and Dustin next week to give his MLB sabermetric All-Stars. Yep. So I will take a crack at a few now, and we'll see if we match on that. How about that?
And then Gill, real quick, I think for upcoming starts, and then this could apply to fantasy teams at this point in the season, DFS, right? All of this stuff for guys that you expect to perform a little better or a little worse going forward.
Let's start with a couple underperformers. The most underperforming starting pitchers in baseball, I have picked two sabermetric All-Stars on the underperforming side. Number one, Bryan Woo of the Seattle Mariners. Step right up. You are a sabermetric All-Star on the underperforming side. What does that mean? First of all, Jensen, last segment, was talking about he thinks Seattle hasn't gotten the most out of their bats. I will add George Kirby to that list, and I will certainly add Bryan Woo. In terms of their arms. Bryan Woo, if you go back to the old Fangraph stat E-F, it's a simple one. It's just ERA minus fielding independent, Kelley. You take a baseball card stat and you take an advanced metric. His ERA minus fielding independent is 1.16. In other words, his ERA is 4.23. His fielding independent is 3.07, meaning 1.16 difference, the widest margin of any starting pitcher in baseball between his ERA and his fielding independent. Remember, boys and girls, fielding independent is really what a pitcher can control. ERA, all kinds of other things are happening, right? Defense, errors, all kinds of stuff. Again, his expected ERA, his xFIP, his Sierra, they're all much lower than his actual ERA as well. They're all in the threes. What is driving all of this? Well, Bryan Woo has a 62.4% strand rate. Let me repeat that. A 62.4% strand rate. It is the worst strand rate, meaning the lowest strand rate in all of Major League Baseball. The average, if you're wondering, for Major League Baseball is about 72%. So Bryan Woo, when he lets runners on, they score at a rate. In other words, they are not stranded. They score at a rate that is just something that shouldn't be and shouldn't sustain into future starts of this MLB season. By the way, he has a 4.7% walk rate, which is the third best in all of baseball. So not only it's both ways. He doesn't give many free passes, the third best walk rate in all of baseball. And even with that anemic walk rate, those guys get home at a ridiculous rate against him. So in other words, and by the way, he's got a 24.1% K rate, which is pretty good. It's not great, but it's better than average. Average K rate's about 22.2%. So usually, guys who don't strand runners are guys that don't have good K rates. Well, his is good enough. Bryan Woo, underperforming sabermetric All-Star, step up. Absolutely think about him as a bet on guy as the season progresses. Let me give you one more underperformer, Kelley. And again, I picked these two because they're both involved in playoff races. Seattle, obviously, in the AL West. Philadelphia Phillies. Jesus Luzardo, one of the underperforming sabermetric All-Stars alongside Bryan Woo. Jesus Luzardo, a 2.9 WAR. It's tied for the sixth best in all of baseball. Only Misiorowski, Schlittler, Sanchez, Joe Ryan, and Ranger Suarez have better WARs for starting pitchers. His E-F is 0.78. It's the seventh most unfortunate. Remember, Woo was the most unfortunate between ERA and fielding independent. Luzardo, 3.75 ERA. His fielding independent is 2.96. All of his other advanced stats, xERA, xFIP, Sierra, they're all low too. What is driving this? In his case, it's not the strand rate like it was with Woo. In his case, it's the BABIP, the batting average on balls in play. 337. It is the second most unfortunate BABIP in all of baseball. The average BABIP is about 289 this year. So in other words, once contact is made off his pitches, he has really been unlucky in terms of what has dropped in for a base knock. By the way, his 2.98 xFIP, only Miz, Schlittler, and Sanchez are lower. The three guys, right? Two in the hunt for the NL Cy Young, the guy for the AL Cy Young, and Schlittler. And in the case of Luzardo, he's got a 28.6% K rate, which is the seventh best in baseball. So But Buddy has an 11.5% home run to fly ball rate, which is top 30 worst. So all of that in the mix. Jesus Luzardo, super underperforming. The BABIP should come down. He's got the K rate to erase batters. His season, like Brian Woo's, should go on the crescendo. So those guys, when they're starting moving forward, look at what the lines are. See how much of this is really incorporated in those lines. In other words, if you are getting favorable lines on these guys, it means that most of what I just talked about isn't getting factored in. Obviously, you can't do it all in a vacuum, but think of Brian Woo and Jesus Luzardo, Mariners and Phillies respectively, as bet-on guys coming up as the season progresses. I will have the single biggest overperformer starting pitching in the sabermetric all-stars on the other side, and this makes those two underperformers look lame by comparison. Watch this next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game, live from Circa Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas, in case of Kelley Bydlon. I am live from San Francisco this week, just hanging out, just hanging out in the Bay, Kelley. That's what I'm doing in the summertime.
Yeah, man.
Chilling. Yeah.
I'm sure you're loving every second of it so far.
Kind of every second. Yeah. Jason H11 on Twitter. Which statement is most likely true? A, the world is flat. B, we never landed on the moon. C, there was a second shooter on the grassy knoll. And D, FIFA is a legit organization without corruption. Oh, man. Patrick Kelley, I'll just Ron Burgundy this one. Good morning, Gill and Kelley. Early for World Cup tomorrow. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, I'd watch France, Morocco at Carbone. Oh, wait, no screen, Jean-Georges. That's a little Aria inside television information is what that was.
What's kind of funny is I've pulled that move before too, Gil. It's like, hey, wait, I want to go to dinner, but I got to watch this game. I'm going to go to Jean-Georges.
I have watched more primetime NFL games outside of my apartment, I'm talking about, at Jean-Georges than any other place, probably, I would say. Rules for society. Red Sox get another win yesterday. Think you moved the line before DraftKings opened it morning of the first at 20-1. So unfortunately couldn't tell you. Took the O's at 50-1 instead. Yeah, Red Sox 4-1. 4-1, Kelley, in the most wins in July. But the Brewers swept the Cardinals yesterday in the doubleheader. So the Brewers are the leader in the clubhouse. They're 6-2. They got 6 wins. But if you're scoring at home, Brewers and Red Sox have the same remaining. The Red Sox have 2 more remaining games moving forward than the Brewers do. So it's way too early to worry about that kind of thing. But right now it's the Brewers at 6-2. The Rockies, after their come from behind win against the Dodgers yesterday, Shohei hit his 300th, but the Rockies come back and beat the Dodgers 5-2 on the young July, if you will, for the Rockies. Then it's the brigade of 4-win teams. The Twins are 4-1. Our Red Sox are 4-1 in 4th place. Tigers are 4-1. Pirates, Marlins, Rays, and Dodgers. Pirates and Marlins 4-2. Rays and Dodgers 4-3. So there you go.
I'm not sure I remember a month that we've done this where the in-month odds have been this interesting. Because
look at the change. Yeah,
we're 8 games in, right? Or 7 games in, or 5 games in for some. Brewers 6-2, plus 170. Plenty of time to go here. Rockies 5-2, 60-1.
Yeah,
not gonna happen.
Look who's the shortest shot after the Brewers though. The Red Sox 9-1.
Rays.
Let's go. Oh, are the Rays? Yeah, I didn't see the Rays. Plus 850.
No, speaking of that tweet, I kind of had the same reaction. I didn't even say it on air yesterday or the day before when we did this, and I was like, man, these updated odds on the Red Sox really did get short, but it's not so much about the updated odds. It's where it closed at finally. Because what number did you get again, Gil? 80?
80-1.
And that got steamed down. That closed at like 20, 25.
Yeah.
So it's like not a huge adjustment off that.
I think Circa remember Circus came out after William Hill Caesars. I think Circa might have opened the Red Sox at 25-1, or I missed the open on it. So
yeah, I think you're right.
When I first noticed it. Okay. So before the break, I did the 2 most underperforming. I don't know if they're the most underperforming, but they're among the most underperforming handful of starting pitchers in Major League Baseball to this point of the season. I highlighted Bryan Woo of the Seattle Mariners, Jesus Luzardo of the Philadelphia Phillies. Take it for the information for what it's worth, because again, you shouldn't blanket bet them moving forward, but you should absolutely keep an eye on those two guys in their upcoming starts moving forward, because those guys, based on, again, strand rate for Woo, primarily BABIP for Luzardo, they are destined for a good regression to the mean. So you got to keep those two guys in mind. As I went to the break, though, and I probably worded it poorly, but the guy I want to highlight for who has overperformed the most in Major League Baseball to this point makes the underperformance of Woo and Luzardo look hilarious. Ladies and gentlemen, the overperforming baseball sabermetric all-star of 2026 at this all-star portion of the season, Eduardo Rodriguez of the Arizona Diamondbacks, sabermetric all-star overperformer extraordinaire. Eduardo Rodriguez, E-Rod as the kids call him, Kelley. Mm-hmm. E-Rod. Let's just take the simple ERA minus fielding independent. E minus F. Minus 1.76. In other words, Eduardo Rodriguez's ERA is 1.76 runs better than his fielding independent. He has a 2.25 ERA. You look at his ERA and you're like, oh my God, this guy's like all of those National League Cy Young contenders. He's just that good. But his fielding independent is 4.01. And here's why primarily. By the way, his expected ERA is 4.99. His xFIP is 4.49. His Sierra is 4.85. I mean, those are even worse. Here's why with all of that. His BABIP, his batting average on balls in play, is 244. That is the 8th most fortunate BABIP in all of baseball. It doesn't even come close to ending there. He has an 86.5% strand rate. 86.5%. Now remember, average strand rate's about 72%. His is 86.5%. That means he lets all these base runners on, and then magically they rarely get home. The only strand rate in Major League Baseball that is more incredible than that of Eduardo Rodriguez is Chase Burns's strand rate, which is north of 89%. But the reason I'm not putting Chase Burns here in this category, but I'm focusing on Eduardo Rodriguez, is because at least with Chase Burns, you have an elite strikeout rate, right? He's the third best strikeout rate in all of baseball. So you can erase batters and get out of jams more easily. Eduardo Rodriguez, he has a 16.9% K rate, which is the 5th most anemic K rate of all starting pitchers in all of baseball, to go along with an 8.7% walk rate, which is the 14th highest walk rate in all of baseball. This is mind-blowing. In other words, he can't erase batters. He issues an amazing amount of free passes, and yet has a super fortunate BABIP of 244 that lends to a ridiculously high strand rate. By the way, his home run to fly ball rate, 8.3%, is the 10th most fortunate, meaning the wall scrapers that are either going to be caught or go out of the ballpark. He's been super fortunate on those alone. Thus the 4.49 xFIP, by the way, 10th highest in all of baseball. Eduardo Rodriguez of the Arizona Diamondbacks, the most butt-lucky, technical term, most butt-lucky pitcher in all of baseball this year. Keep that in mind when he's on the hill moving forward. Sabermetric All-Star Extraordinaire 2026.
Love it. Great breakdown,
Thank you.
man. Love it.
Thank you very much. I'm very curious when Borchard comes on next week, when Base Winner comes on, we're going to have some match probably and some not. He's got it. I guarantee. Like I would bet on it, Rodriguez. I'd lay like minus 350. He's got Rodriguez in there. It's incredible.
The only question on that, Gill, is the fact that is he a Diamondback? Is there a Diamondback bias that comes in? You never know.
Oh, with Borchard.
Yeah.
True. Well, he's usually faithful
fair
to the numbers.
Yeah. Usually.
I want to squeeze in some golf here before we go to break.
Sure. Let's do it. Hitting the club, boys? Let's hit the club.
Let's do it. Oh, yeah. I don't see the glow sticks from here.
You know what? Neither do I, Gill, besides one person. The Glenn. I think that's Darnell. I can never see his directing.
Danny claims his is out. It's dead.
That's true. I can't see. He's holding up one that's not flashing, so that really doesn't add to it much at all. All right, Scottish Open. Let's head over to Scotland. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite events. You know what, Gill? I'm going to first start off with the odds board here because this is, I think, as we started to encounter some of the past couple majors where we've had this Scheffler winless streak, we've been wondering, hey, what's the futures liability look like for some of these majors? And is that affecting the numbers at all? It's kind of just funny at this point. I mean, you've been the one bringing it up for months now about, hey, it's another second place finish for Scotty. How is this going to affect outright, odds and stuff going forward? And it is every week now, I think when he tees it up, shop around. I've seen plus 450 and I've seen 6-1 out there on Scotty. And that's just like it was at the U.S. Open. I don't think this is something that's really going to be changing here until he does win one of these events. Over at DraftKings right now, Scotty 5-1, Rory getting close to 9-1, Rahm 13-1. Shop around them, those guys, you'll find better numbers too. Xander and Ludwig both at 20-1. Everybody else longer than that. Long shots up. You get a full breakdown from me and Wes on everybody. I will tell you, I love Rory this week. I do really wish he had played more golf here recently. But first bet I made was Rory top 10 plus 120. Love that bet. His finishes here at the Scottish Open last 3 years, T2, T4, and a win. So started with the top 10. Didn't know how I was going to round out the outright card, but did add him at 10-1 when it trickled out there yesterday. Wyndham Clark and Alex Fitzpatrick also outrights for me this week. Wyndham Clark, one of the hottest golfer in the world. Plenty of placements, plenty of matchups, everything up at VSiN.com.
Hold your golf thoughts because Chris Felica has some golf plays next as well. Soccer and baseball next on A Numbers Game right here at VSiN.